You're walking in the forest one day and this giant spike ball almost lands on your head, cracks open, and there's this foul stench coming from it. Would your first instinct be, ugh, it's disgusting looking? I wonder what it tastes like. Well, apparently someone did, and that is why durian is so popular in Asia. Durian is one of those foods that is definitely of an acquired taste. Either you love it or you don't. My dad loves it, my sister and mom don't. I am somehow in the middle, I'm not sure how that works. Like, I think it tastes fine and good, but I can also agree with the other side that it does smell like hot garbage soaked in gasoline. The meat's also not the most aesthetically pleasing thing to look at either. Whenever my dad buys some and brings it home, it's very obvious. Poisonous food is also really fascinating to me. Like, before we had all of this science to tell us what was safe and what wasn't, how did people determine things before? It's not like they could just go on their phone and check Reddit. So is it like trial and error? Delectable tea or deadly poison? What if this food taster guy just died eating that mushroom only because he was deathly allergic? Or that mushrooms are truly disgusting and should be avoided at all costs? All I know is that I definitely did not want to have that guy's job.
Yeah, so the last guy died eating this thing, but we need to rule out allergies as the cause. Now eat this plant or you don't get paid.
What I find even more fascinating is that there are some foods out there that can't be eaten unless through certain preparations. Popular example of this would be pufferfish sashimi or fugu. Let's see, how should I describe this? A specially trained chef needs to cut this fish in a certain way so that when you eat its flesh, you don't end up on a one-way trip to the river Styx. Well, that sucks. Okay, well, attempt number 20. But there is another food out there that is just absolutely insane. The most mind-blowing out of all the mind-blowing foods I can think of is basically rotten shark. In Iceland, there is a delicacy known as hakao. I really tried to pronounce it, I'm sorry. Oftentimes, the fishermen would accidentally catch these massive Greenland sharks. And naturally, just like me when I see a big fish at the aquarium, I'm sure we all arrived at the same thought. Grilled or steamed? I mean, after all, it would be a huge waste of all that meat. But the thing about Greenland sharks is that their meat is super toxic. So the way they get the toxins out and make the meat safe to eat is by letting it hang out in a cellar to rot for 6 months. Okay, well actually, according to this website, it ferments for 6 weeks first and then left out to dry for 6 months. And that's all there is to it. I'm more curious as to how versus the why. Like, how the heck did they stumble upon this fun little idea? How did they figure out that letting it rot makes it safe? Or more specifically, how did they figure out the time needed? Because apparently a consumption of fresh Greenland shark meat or meat that wasn't cured long enough, even the smallest amount, causes severe illness, blindness, even death. Imagine those poor unfortunate souls that came to that conclusion. Oh, yeah, it needs to sit out longer. Also, I forgot to mention that the meat is dried because otherwise the texture is mushy. Okay, so to recap, deadly shark meat needs to ferment for 6 weeks to remove poison. So it'll smell really bad. Then needs to dry for half a year in order to make the texture more pleasant than mushy? I don't know. After seeing all that it requires and all the tragedies that probably happened along the way, at some point early on, I would think, you know, maybe we just shouldn't try to eat this at all. But no, even in the face of terrible illness and death, it was by sheer force of will that humanity will find a way to eat this thing. Hashtag worth it. Is it though? Well, as one of the healthiest foods to come from Iceland, apparently yes. It's just crazy though, like from stinky deadly meat to stinky but healthy meat. All because they let it rot for a certain amount of time. Like, what? That's just crazy. Anyways, does this mean that I should try to stir fry some beetles I found in my backyard with peanut butter? No. Does the fact that this fruit has been molding for several weeks mean it's unsafe to eat? Or am I onto something amazing? Most likely a trip to the hospital. The point is, I'm probably not brave enough to try to discover some new method of making food. Heck, most I've ever contributed to the culinary world was mixing sriracha and vanilla ice cream. Wasn't that bad. But now that we are in the holiday season, maybe we should take some time to appreciate those that came before us, that risked their lives. Not just the scientists, but let us also be thankful to all those nameless Joe Schmoes that accidentally drank turtle milk and other spoiled stuff that would eventually give us the things we enjoy today, like pizza, bread, kimchi, and rotten fish. To all those brave souls who had complete disregard for the potentially hazardous outcomes, we thank you. What is the weirdest food you've ever eaten? Put it down in the comments below. Yeah, I know there are some pretty gross stuff out there. Like people, I think at some point were eating placentas and poop and I was just like, no, I'm not putting that in the video. That's disgusting. But anyways, surprise guys, what is this, a video? Even though I said I was gonna be working on a really big project, yeah, that was a really bad idea, so psych! Anyways, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I actually had a lot of fun making this one. It was just so random. It was just like food, am I right? So, that'll be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. I will see you in the next video. Until then, stay safe and stay
With the YouTube Music app, you can blend up to 30 artists into one big custom radio station, which means now your thumb is basically a tiny little. Get YouTube Music Premium. Try 1 month free.
Do you know why my dog is the best dog in the world? Because she's a little baby. This is my little baby, that's why. This, everybody, is my dog, and her name is Rhea. She is a rescue from the south, a breed, and she is full of love. Honestly, without a doubt, with zero bias, I think she's the best dog probably ever to exist. She just loves and trusts everybody we meet, which is very cute, but also, it's a little weird. It's kind of worrying. You may wonder, how did we get Rhea? How are we so lucky to be blessed with literally the best dog? It all started with Kelly. She told me one day she really wanted to get a dog and that we should adopt. Initially, I felt really hesitant about it. Don't get me wrong, I like dogs and I've had dogs before, but I knew what they came with. Primarily, lots of hair. I also felt super busy at the time, and adding things like taking care of a dog felt like too much stuff. It's not something you can do as a hobby. It's a life that you have to keep alive. An adorable little baby life was so cute, little baby. My heart was icy cold, and I didn't really want to take on this new responsibility. But Kelly was sure this was going to be a good idea, and I wasn't, so I don't know. Who am I to stand in the way? So we made a plan to foster a dog for a little while to see if it was indeed a good idea. Kelly did all the planning and collecting information and research about fostering and adopting, and eventually she found a sweet, chunky Rhea ready to join somebody's family. The listing said that she was mellow even-tempered and loved to snuggle, which made Kelly think she'd be a great fit. Rhea was located all the way in the south, states away, but getting her was actually pretty simple. We contacted the organization to set everything up. They told us to meet in a parking lot where they were going to distribute all the other dogs to all of the other families. When they arrived, they gave Rhea some final shots, they gave us some paperwork and a leash, and then we went. She didn't even know who we were, but when we opened the car door, she just jumped in with no questions. She was very, very trusting. You're very trusting. Too trusting. And NordVPN is a virtual private network. When it comes to internet privacy, you may have some thoughts. Such as, what can I do to protect myself while surfing those World Wide Web waves? Well, NordVPN can actually help you with your internet protection. While you may be looking up very important research, there are prying eyes trying to collect and sell your data. Such an incredible bummer. But with NordVPN, you can block those trackers in their tracks. Not only that, but you can also block malicious ads, block nasty malware, or take me out to dinner this Friday. My schedule's wide open. Totally free. You can also install NordVPN on any of your devices. Your phone, my tablet, or that guy's computer. Stay away from my computer. Use promo code Ice Cream Sandwich to get NordVPN's 2-year plan plus 4 extra months for free. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. Thank you, NordVPN, for sponsoring this video. At the beginning, things started off well enough. However, I was worried about leaving her alone all day because both Kelly and I had to go to work. We'd feed her breakfast, let her go potty, and go off to work. Normally, you'd think a dog in a new unfamiliar place would be more timid and maybe hiding in a spot or acting out in some way. But when I came home, she would poke her nose through the door like a bird trying to get a little seed, which is adorable. And it makes me think that she's just sitting there waiting all day for us to come home. She was starting to win me over, but despite her being literally the best little baby to ever bless this earth, I just couldn't live like this. It made me feel like I needed to vacuum everything, all the time. The line that I drew in the sand was when it came to getting into bed. We got her own bed, and she was allowed to sleep on the couch, but I didn't want her allowed in bed, because I wanted to sleep in a blanket and not a pile of fur. Hey babe, I'm going to bed. That was the couch. Which pile is the bed in again? The only problem was that she didn't want to be left alone. She was desperately wanting to be in bed to snuggle, as from her biography. But I stood firm, like a psychopath, and made her stay in her doggy bed on the floor. And she did, because she's a good girl. The couple of weeks of fostering that we had her were coming to a close, and we had to decide if we were going to adopt her fully or not. Night after night, she requested bed access, and I kept denying her. But how many times has she moved families? What crime did she commit to deserve a nomad life? And who am I to deny her a family, a belonging, a home to snuggle in? Okay, all right, baby, I'm sorry. You can go to bed. I'm sorry I was ever rude to you or cold to you. Can you ever find it in your little doggy heart to forgive me? We ended up adopting her as a full-time puppy. We were happy with the decision. She was happy with the decision. If time machines existed and I could go back in time and meet myself when I didn't want to adopt, there would be consequences. Ultimately, Rhea has been an amazing dog, and all I can be is thankful. Thankful to Rhea and thankful to Kelly for finding our perfect puppy baby. I have something. Listen. I have something to say. I'm listening. If you still wanted some clothing merch, we're not going to be restocking, so check out the store if you're interested in getting any of that. Thank you everybody for the support, and thank you for watching.
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and exclusive access to all things VIP, so you can superfan from your sofa. Try one.
Fear helps you stay alive, but I feel like in today's age, it feels much more like a burden than a function of survival. Sure, the world can be a scary place sometimes, like when you actually see a bear, but I just don't see bears that much. And I think fear is just a little more annoying than it is helpful in most parts of my life. The first thing I think of when I think of fear is flying. Fun fact about me, I used to not be afraid of flying at all. And actually, I thought it was a lot of fun. I remember my favorite seat was the window seat because I got to see a view of the world that used to only belong to birds. But now, a Unfortunately, flying is so much more of a hassle than it used to be. One of the more recent times I was flying, the pilot came over the intercom and said, "Hello, passengers. We are coming close to our destination. And we are going down. And as we are going down to our destination, I ask everyone to fasten their seatbelts and return their seats to their upright position for landing." Can we work on our phrasing a little or provide context? I respect pilots and all they do for society, but please say anything else than "we are going down" when inside of a giant metal tube in the sky. I thought for a moment that I was actually gonna die. I can't totally describe the feeling of doom that I felt in that moment, but I can kind of make a facial expression that represents it. It was like that. It was on the inside. I used to think it would be cool to have flight as a superpower, but with fear of flying, it would just be terrible. Maybe I can just walk. If you're afraid of flying, it's definitely not the only thing you're afraid of. One time when I was a kid, my family went to Willis Tower, and if you've never been, at the top of Willis Tower, there are these glass boxes that poke out of the building that you can actually walk into and look down at the city if you so please. I thought it'd be really cool to see everything with no obstructed view, but the closer I got to the glass boxes, the more my brain cranked up my fear. There's never been a mechanical failure. It's gonna be fine. Yeah, but what if it's not fine? What if it breaks for the first time when you stand on it? There's always a first time for everything, but it's maintained regularly, and you look at all the other people doing it, they're okay. Yeah, but what if when you get on, a bug flies into a bird's mouth and it chokes, which causes it to hit a plane, which makes the plane crash, and the plane hits a screw on the glass box, but the plane actually recovers and flies away, so everybody's happy about that. But the screw spins until it comes out and unravels the whole glass box, and you fall? No, yeah, that's a good point. So when it was my turn to go into the glass box, I decided to not. The building is well maintained and has never had a mechanical failure, and I could have had a cool experience, but I was just too freaked out. However, even if fear is sometimes annoying, I stand by my wariness of mechanical failures. Things happen. If there really are infinite realities inside of infinite universes, then that means somewhere out there, there's an Andy that met a terrible fate. Oh!